Good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, viewers. Today, my topic is on the Constitution of India. We all know that Constitution is our life. Constitution is one which attain and sustain life in our society, in our country. Once for a while, if we assume for the sake of argument that we take away the Constitution from our life, then what will happen? Obviously, there will be absolute disintegration. There will be absolute disorder in our society, in our country. And nothing will remain stable. There will be no progress. People will be in helter and skelter. Everything will be scattered. These are the consequences if we take away the Constitution from our life. You know, this sacred document, it was given to us by our forefathers. After the day when our country, India, achieved its independence, and we all know that this independence was not so easy as we think today. Our great people, they laid their lives, they sacrificed their lives to achieve the day of independence for us who are enjoying it today. Therefore, it is very important for all of us to maintain it. After the independence was achieved from the shackles of the British rule, the Constituent Assembly was set up, established, with comprising of hundreds of finest brains of that time, under the chairmanship of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Under his able guidance, the Constitution of India was drafted and came into being on 26th of January 1950, meaning thereby that India became the nation which is governed by the principles of Constitution, by the Constitution. So India is a constitutionally governed nation. This constitution is the highest law, the supreme law of the land. This is called grand norm, which means that anything which is not consistent with the constitution are null and void, can be declared null and void by the courts. So, any legislation which is enacted, it should meet the requirements of the parameters of the constitution. Otherwise, that legislation is ultra vires of the constitution. Such is the value of this sacred document. It has accorded you the rights, constitutional rights. You have fundamental rights there. You have right to equality. You have right to protest. You have right to life. Then so many other rights. You need to understand these rights. Yes, you have right to life. Then so many other rights. Therefore, it is very important for excuse me, for each one of us to understand comprehensively the values of the Constitution. Constitution lays down your right to vote. It lays down how the future governments will act, will govern the nation. It is all incorporated in the Constitution of India. Therefore, it is important that you choose the governments which values your constitution, because the governments which do not value the constitution are no good governments. In any nation which is constitutionally governed, why you choose the governments? You choose the governments so that it could give you a life of dignity which Constitution guarantees to every citizen. Serve the people. It could make foreign policies which serve the nation and the people of this, the interest of the people of this nation. This is why we forms the governments. You, one thing which you must understand, you keep in your mind, is that we elect people. Every five years, this is the tenure of the governments. Every 5 years, we elect the people to parliament, to state legislatures, and the political parties which attain the majority, they form the governments according to the constitution. Everything is according to the constitution. This must be embedded in your mind. So here emerge the question of your voting power, which our masses are undermining it since long time now. It is the people who are the reservoir of power through the medium of your vote. Once you transfer this power to your elected members, to your representatives, then that reservoir becomes empty, and it remains empty till next elections come. So it is very pertinent, relevant, important for you, for the voter, that while using your this voting power, you activate your wisdom. You assess to whom you are going to vote, which political party you are going to vote. What is the understand? What is the ideology of that political party? How so big or small that political party is? Don't go by the faces. That is not important. If the ideology of the political party overrides the constitutional principles, the tenets of the constitution, then don't go to vote for such party, because it may prove fatal for your lives, fatal for your nation. You don't need any political party which does not follow the principles, because whosoever political party will form the government, you have to see what sort of policies they formulate for you, whether those policies are in the interest of your nation, in the interest of your generations, in the interest of you people or not. That will matter. Therefore, it is very important that you choose the representative who is upright, who has some value in the society, who respect the values, who has the knowledge of constitution, who is a man of masses, who is honest, who will not betray after seeking your vote. You have to weigh all these qualities in your representatives, and that can happen only if you yourself is aware about yourself, about your society, about your constitution. Because the real education is the education of constitution. You may have many degrees, but if you are not aware of the constitution, those degrees will be of no value to you, except for your individual benefits, which may open your avenues to some employment. But not of value to your society as a whole, nation as a whole. So, if you will be constitutionally aware, only then you can see the qualities in your representatives, because it will be your representative ultimately who will represent your interest in the parliament, in the state legislatures. And if you choose a person who does not represent you, your interests, and he represents the interest of his own clique, own coterie, their own cronies, then he will prove fatal for you. And this is what over the years happening around us. Our voter is not so aware. This is why the politicians, they exploit them, they befool them, and they woo them to get their votes, and they fall a prey to it, to their sweet promises, which are basically the false promises. So it is very important that constitutionally the citizen, each and every citizen, must be aware to avoid such upheavals that you may face while you vote to a wrong political party, to a wrong person. You have to avoid this to the maximum. Constitution, it guarantees you before it, I will tell you, you must know what are your interests. Your interests are that your rights must be protected. Who will protect your rights? It will be your representative who ultimately will protect your rights when he enters the government. It is you people as a voter who forms the, who elects the people, the political parties, who after getting majority forms the governments constitutionally. And if government is, so your interests are your rights. You must get employment. You must get education. Your life must be secure. You must get safety, which is constitutionally guaranteed. There, you should have a right to lead a life of dignity, which means that at least you should get the basic necessities of life to sustain yourself. And what are those necessities? You should have food to survive. You should have clothing to wear. You should have shelter to live, house to live. These things are guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. But if you are not aware, that is your, then you are unfortunate that you are not aware regarding your rights. And if you are not aware regarding your rights, how would you protect your rights? Your vote will be exploited by the clever politician, by alluring you with false promises which they never fulfill. If you are constitutionally aware, you can assess what your media is doing. And if media is not acting as fourth pillar of democracy, you should avoid that media. You should stop watching their channels. But since you are not aware, therefore you can't do this. It is my suggestion that the Constitution, the subject of Constitution, should start right from class 1. And it should never end. It should be a subject taught in every class up to the level of PhD. Everyone needs to be aware regarding the Constitution. Without this, your education is not complete at all. Constitutional education, it will give you the capacity, the power to inquire. You will start inquiring. Once you know your Constitution, you will start inquiring what is happening. You can act as watchdog if you are well aware about your Constitution, your rights. You can divert the wrong ways of the government. You can mend the ways of the government. if you are well aware, because it is the public opinion which matters for any nation. We have seen in the United States of America that how the people are aware, how they keep check on their governments. And once they feel that governments are not good for them, they change them. And we have seen that how Trump, the former US president, was replaced by the next president, Mr. Biden. Biden is there because of the awakening, constitutional awakening of the people of US. You need to be awakened like the US people. And it can happen only if you focus, along with your other education, you focus on your constitution also. The sense of constitution is lacking, not in our people only, but in our bureaucracy. Everywhere it is lacking. Because for the progress of this nation, we have to act constitutionally. We cannot play politics of discrimination, politics of hatred, politics of disintegration, because all such things are inhibited constitutionally. Constitution does not permit such politics. You have to frame policies which are for the welfare of the people, not for the welfare of few cronies. Because the massive chunk of population suffers if we have wrong policies. Our economic policies are such that it should serve the common masses. Not a handful of people. And it can happen only if the masses are aware about their rights, about their constitutional values, because without it, it is not possible at all. These politicians possess the capacity to allure you with the flashes of false promises, and you don't question, you remain reticent, which aggravates the situations around you. This constitution is meant to govern this nation, to serve the people of this nation, to serve the coming generations. Therefore, it is bounden duty of each one of us that we should protect it. And you can protect it only if you are well aware. about your rights, about your constitution. And there is no other way. So, spare time to read this important document in your life, Constitution. See what is mentioned in the Constitution, and whether, because it Constitution, you understand, it guarantees you your life. It guarantees you due process of law. It directs the governments to follow certain policies. For example, there is no scope of concentration of wealth in directive principles of state. But despite this, there is heavy concentration of wealth in few hands. But you don't know. Because you are not aware. And when you are not aware, the things can happen to their way, who are governing you. So, this is supreme law. All other laws follows this supreme law. It is a document which is comprised of, which is a composition of your rights vis-a-vis state. So, you need to understand, teach your children, give them a copy of Constitution. Tell them to read and explain what is written inside the copy, the document. Make a habit. Only then something can happen. Otherwise, it is not possible that your life and the life of your generations will be better. With this, I will end this topic and hope that one thing which I wanted to make also clear, that you should draw a line between the political parties and the government. There is a clear cut line. Once any political party forms the government, then constitutionally it becomes detached from their affiliations to that political parties. Those governments cannot propagate their political ideologies through the medium of governance. Their only job remains to stick to the Constitution, the constitutional policies, the constitutional principles, to serve the nation and the people of that nation. Must keep in your mind. Once the governments are formed, they are detached from the political affiliations to whichever party that government belongs. It has nothing to do with that. Politics of hatred, politics of discrimination on any base, color, caste, creed, religion, it is all prohibited by the Constitution. Directly or indirectly, we can't propagate such things. It is prohibited. Keep it in mind. The community of interest is important for the progress of any nation. Individual interest will not matter. Therefore, keep all this in your mind. Read your constitution, aware yourself regarding the constitutional principles, your rights. See what your governments are doing for you, what policies they are making for you. Also check what your media is doing. Know about the role of your media. You should know the role of your media. Whether it's serving to its people or it is against the interest of the people, the masses. You should assess all these things, which will help you in future when you go for vote. And at that time, you can assess, you vote, why these 4-5 years are provided to you. This is the opportunity for you to assess to whom you have voted previously, whether he has served your interests or not. And if he has not, then what will be your next course of action? What will you do? Activate your wisdom while you vote. And here I will end this episode. Thank you very much. Have a good day.